There's a lot of supplements that people try and they're kind of wasting their money. Those things that our body is deficient in and we're not getting from our food supply anymore. It's like, what can people do to improve their longevity? What can they do to be in better health and better shape, better condition? What can they do to, and there's people that have that, but there's no good resources.
What is good? What do we look for? Where do we go to get those? So, no guest today, but it's just you and me.
Yeah, I guess it's just you and me. I kind of wanted to, oh, share some things that for the last 2 years, I've been, kind of not just dipping my toe in the water, but actually diving in. It's about vitamins and nutrient deficiencies, which I really don't call vitamins. I call them supplements. So for our sixth podcast in out of network and into wellness, I thought we'd talk about supplements.
All right, supplements, they are everywhere, and there's a lot of noise that surrounds supplements that people see on social media and TV.
It's one of the biggest scams in the United States. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Supplements are, and I feel like since I've started uh, the clinic, I felt like there's a lot of supplements that people try and they're kind of wasting their money. And then I've tried to educate myself through some very good quality education about vitamins and about supplements that kind of help make your life better.
Yeah, I get the try this, it'll help you, it'll boost your performance, it'll help you sleep better. How would a person, I mean, with all that noise, how would we
See, that's
determine?
kind of what I consider myself to be the expert, non-expert. Just like, for example, with peptides, I've got so many people now that are using peptides, and I've been to a couple peptide conferences. I'm actually certified now in peptides, and they're kind of supplements, and they actually kind of help your body to do like semaglutides, one of the most famous
Hmm.
peptides.
Yeah.
Um, but they're vitamins and minerals and all of those things that our body is deficient in and we're not getting from our food supply anymore. It's like, what can people do to improve their longevity? What can they do to be in better health and better shape, better condition? What can they do to, and there's people that have that, but there's no good resources to find out. So I feel like my job as a physician is to do the research and to do all the background and be able to say, you know what, I can put my stamp on ashwagandha. I can put my stamp on vitamin D, vitamin C. I can put my stamp on those things and tell people where to get them reliably.
Yeah, I remember I was taking a probiotic one time, and I told you I was taking the gummy probiotic, and you
Right.
told me that's just packed with sugar. It's not any good for you.
Right.
Um, so what, like I said, with all the noise, how do we know what is good? What do we look for? Where do we go to get those? And because I know Walmart's packed, you can go a whole aisle in Walmart with
Right.
supplements, but are those supplements a good source?
Some good resources that Dr. Berg and Dr. Hyman are both certified functional medicine doctors. One's a chiropractor, one's an MD. And I think that's a good resource. One of the ones that I go to um, because they've got quality stuff. And so the problem is that people feel like, well, I want to start my supplements, and they go out and they buy vitamins, but they try and save a lot of money. Well, I've got a way to test those vitamins and figure out whether the levels actually come up or whether the vitamin actually has what it says it does. Because as a vitamin, you really don't have to have, you can put anything in there and claim that you have X, Y, or Z. So if you're wasting money on really cheap vitamins, you're probably going to be in the low 5 to 10 percentile range of what is actually in the vitamin that comes out.
So what makes a good vitamin supplement?
Well, I think I try to carry a good supplements here. I know that when they expire, that the people that I get my supplements from um, actually call and say these are going to expire. I need you to send them back, and or you can send them off to check for their purity. Of which I'm always shocked at some of the really expensive brands like Thorne, for example, that I sent some Thorne vitamins off a few months ago, and they were less than 5% of what they said they were.
What are they filled with? What's the other
Well, I mean,
95% filled with?
after things like, for example, I think one of the most famous one is fish oil. Now, omega-3 fish oil is amazing for your heart and really good for your cholesterol. Okay, so all these people are out buying omega-3s, et cetera, but fish oil, for example, goes rancid. Okay,
Oh,
and so and a rancid oil is actually worse for you than anything else. And
I didn't
so,
know that.
one of the things with omega threes is I tell people to keep them in the freezer, just like you would if you had a butter or something like that, and you wanted to make sure it didn't go rancid. You keep it in the freezer. So I have people keep it in the freezer. Krill oil, same thing. I mean, it can go bad as well. So
So how long does it take for those krill and fish oil to
it
go bad?
depends. It kind of depends on the purity and whether they get any bad oil or any dysfunctional oil in. I use BioT vitamins, and it's one of the other vitamins that I kind of like to use frequently. I kind of want to talk about it today is vitamin D. Um, I've had 2 or 3 dozen patients that have come in and said, "Oh yeah, I've been taking my vitamin D3 for 2 years and blah blah blah," and I'll check their level and it's scary low. And if their level is low, then obviously they're not getting it. Well, with vitamin D, in order to make it work, you have to take it with K2. So you take K2D3, and then you also want vitamin A with it because vitamin D actually absorbs better with an oil, and vitamin A is an oil.
I got vitamin D, and then you got vitamin D3. Are they the same?
Well, no, the vitamin D3 actually has a couple extra hydroxy groups on it, OH, on the end, and it's better absorbed. The D3 is not, or the regular D is not absorbed very well.
So D3 is better for you.
D3 is better, and I always put D3 with K2 because they're absorbed together. And then again, I add vitamin A, which is another fat soluble vitamin. And there's the fat solubles, which are D, A, E, and then there's the water soluble, which is a lot of your B vitamins.
Now I read that, or I was researching some vitamins a couple years ago, and it said the best kind of supplements that you can get is the ones that are third party tested by a third party lab.
That is true.
How does I had to do research on what brands
Yes,
actually do that because
yes,
surprisingly, a lot of the brands in Walmart don't do that.
exactly, exactly.
So
That's why I'm saying don't waste your money on junk because so many people have. It's like, oh, I've been taking this really expensive X vitamin for years with a good brand name, and they take it, I send it off, it's 5% pure. And so A, it sits on the shelf too long and expires. B, it like on the oil type vitamins, they can go rancid and they can go
mhm.
bad even quicker. Um, and then the other thing is a lot of people take, like, for example, I used to take Stress Tab multivitamins, which is a B complex multivitamin, and none of the B vitamins were methylated. Well, if they're not methylated, they're not absorbed and they're not used. And so um, now I take methylated B vitamins and have crazy good success and have had crazy good success in the clinic with them as well.
The methylated vitamins.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah. What's
that
that?
methylated vitamins. Let me go back and explain a little bit. Methylated vitamins, which I have here, called methyl factors. There's studies about a gene called the MTHFR gene,
Yeah.
And there's the MTR and there's the MOT and there's a COMT, but they're all kind of in the methylated state. Well, if you take ultra processed foods or if you take unmethylated B vitamins, if you have that gene, of which 40% of the population has the gene, you cannot use you cannot use the folate that was put in your food. Okay. It has to be methylfolate because folate actually becomes toxic
Yeah.
to the body. And once you get toxic, what are the signs of toxicity? Anxiety, irritability, inability to concentrate, inability to focus, inability to sleep. So, what you're doing is you think you're putting something in your body that's helping, and it's actually making things worse.
So when you say 40% of the people have that gene,
Yes.
is that the symptoms that you need to look for if you have those
Yes.
genes?
If you're like, for example, oh, I can think of a few of my children, growing up. One of them is like, oh yeah, you sugar them up and then you send them back home to mom and dad or whatever. Well, I mean, they don't handle sugar. They don't handle processed foods. They don't handle those kind of things. Um, so like with that, you may have somebody that's not a methylator and they may be getting toxic on vitamins or enriched foods. Anything that's enriched,
Yeah.
actually, they add folate to. And folate is a compound that your body doesn't even recognize as being anything. So you can get toxic. You can get toxic on folate.
And the toxicity is the mood, anger, and depression and all that.
Yeah.
That's the toxicity that you're
Yes.
talking about. Okay.
Now and I keep track in the clinic here. I'm at 27 kids that I pulled off of their ADHD medicine and put them on methylated B vitamins and changed their life.
So other than here, that methylated B vitamins,
Yes.
if say somebody that's seeing this doesn't see it, that's not from here.
Right.
Like, oh, where can I look for those vitamins at?
Well, they have some good, like in town here. You got to look up the sources and the resources you have. Nature's Paradise here in town has good methylated B vitamins. I've sent them off. I've tested them. I've seen them work. But you just have to go to a trusted resource, and you got to do your research.
Yeah.
So, like, and then the other mountain that we're climbing here is that in medical school, we're told that, and I remember being told this at least a dozen times, is that you're getting all the vitamins and the nutrients you need from the food you're eating, and you really don't have to supplement. Well, nothing can be further from the truth.
Especially today with the amount of processed foods that we
That's
eat.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
what we're feeding our kids in the schools,
Yeah.
ultra processed foods. What we're feeding our people in the hospital is ultra processed foods. What we're feeding our people in any institution in the jails,
Yeah.
it's all these places that institutionalized food is ultra processed food. And so, if these people happen to be in the 40% of the population, which is considerable,
Yeah.
and they can't process that. They're more anxious, they're more angry, they're more irritable, they can't sleep. What are we doing to our population?
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
that.
and then the doctors are told exactly that. Well, you're getting enough of the nutrients from your food. That is just not true. I mean, let's just take vitamin D, for example. You know,
Yeah.
uh, one of the most common vitamin deficiencies is vitamin D. What does vitamin D do for you? Well, vitamin D, just for an example, just one vitamin, they say it's the it's a fat soluble vitamin which they say you can get toxic on. I've never seen that in my entire career, but they say that you can get toxic on it. Um, and in medical school, it's like, yeah, watch when you give A, D, K, and E. Yeah, don't give the E, don't give the, and so, but what does D do? It regulates your hormones. Low vitamin D level patients get sick more frequently. They've determined that the sickness that people get the illness, the viruses, et cetera. If you have a low vitamin D level, it makes it much worse. It makes it a lot longer until you get better. Um, and people aren't supplementing it. And when they do supplement it, they don't supplement it heavy enough.
I think, I mean, that vitamin works wonders for like winter months, when you're inside
Absolutely.
a lot and all that.
Absolutely.
Because you start, I mean, for me, seasonal depression is a thing. And if I don't take that, I just feel horrible, and I remember having it last January, I think it was, and I was talking to Melissa,
Right.
and she's like, "Have you had your vitamin D? You got vitamin D?" And I was like, "Oh no, I forgot. I'm supposed to take that in the winter, because most people don't realize that you get vitamin D from the sun,
Right.
and when the long or short days start happening, you start getting less sun, especially if you go to work when it's dark and you're inside all day.
That's right.
Um,
And they call it seasonal depression. Do you think it might be a vitamin D?
yeah,
A deficiency?
yeah,
I truly feel like it is. I mean, vitamin D elevates the mood and treats uh, mild depression. Zinc treats depression and low mood. Um, C actually treats depression and low mood. Gosh, maybe we're all just vitamin deficient. Could that be? I
could
mean,
it
I feel like I see it quite a bit.
well, I see it all the time. I think I mean, if our food source is contaminated with processed poison,
Right.
then yeah, that's probably why we have such a mental health crisis in our nation now.
I feel like it's a big part of it.
Yeah,
I really do think Kennedy's onto something with all of
yeah,
this, and I mean, like his studies are pretty impressive. I mean, so why not try to treat depression
yeah,
with vitamin C, D, and zinc? Why not try to um, pre-treat illness so that you don't get sick and stay sick with vitamin C, D, and zinc? Why not? What would hurt? What's the problem with that? It's not You're not going to get toxic on those vitamins.
yeah.
It's the processed foods with the enriched foods that cause the toxicity.
Another thing about vitamin D, listening, can't remember where I heard it, but that it slows your aging
Yes.
if you're regularly taking it.
Yes.
And
I mean, it is the youth vitamin, and it actually improves longevity. All the longevity experts talk about vitamin D. Mark Hyman talks about it. Uh, Gary Brecka talks about it. All this, I mean, a lot of people talk about that, but it just hasn't, for whatever reason, made mainstream yet.
and I understand because the what they were referencing, I can't remember the study, but it was like a 10 or 15-year long study
Right.
of placebo patients and non-placebo patients, and that the vitamin D group, it was vitamin D3,
Yep.
um, aged by age 3 years slower than the placebo group. So I think they were 3 years younger than the group that was in the placebo one, and I was like,
Yeah, they
I
did. They did I read that study too, where they did the telomere aging, which
telomere,
is
yeah, yeah,
did the telomere aging, and they found that vitamin D patients did much much better. And it's like, gosh, why not take that? I
why
mean,
I,
to me, it's a little bit of a conspiracy. Why isn't that huge news? Why why isn't that front and center? It's like,
yeah,
you want to treat your depression, you want to treat your osteoporosis, you want to treat your viral illness. You want to, I mean, take this vitamin.
yeah,
Well, and then, one of the other things is they always say, "Oh, you got to watch out. It's toxic. It's toxic." Well, okay, it's a it's a fat soluble vitamin, and just like the ADK and E, it's a fat soluble vitamin. But I have never seen anybody in my 25 years. I've never even heard of a case of vitamin D toxicity.
is it maybe it's toxic in like you just chug 60 bottles of vitamin D just to, I don't
Per
know.
perhaps,
Perhaps, I mean, when they say
perhaps.
toxic, they don't reference the amount.
Right.
It's just like, okay, don't take this because it could be
So the
toxic.
recommended daily allowance of vitamin D from the FDA is 500 units. Okay.
Okay.
All of the gurus, um, all the gurus that follow vitamin D, for example, say that it's at least five. If you're low, it's 10,000 units per day. Or if you're trying to maintain, it's 5,000 units per day. And the studies there are quite impressive. And it's like, gosh, you know, was this a conspiracy? I mean, are they using this to keep us sick? Vitamin D is an all around vitamin. Protects your hormones, protects your bones, protects your health. It's I feel like this may be a little bit of a conspiracy because, at this point they're saying, well, your vitamin D level can't be above 100. But personally, I run 120 to 150, and I've never had a complication. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that
Yeah.
for everybody, but my wife and I run way above 100.
Okay. So I think you're onto something with the conspiracy because there's a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's
Yeah.
the anti-aging health vitamin,
Yeah.
as well as C and zinc, as well as some of the others, the ADHD, for an example, um, is your B1 vitamin, um, is or gosh, it's thiamine, uh, the B1 vitamin or benphotamine, it's either thiamine or benphotamine, actually depletes every time you eat sugar. It also depletes when you do stimulant medicines. And so they're giving you stimulant medicines, which is Adderall, Ritalin. Uh, I mean, there's 1,000 of them out there now. And the studies show that um, that as you eat too much sugar and too much processed food, your B1 vitamin depletes. Okay. And then they also show that with stimulants, your B1 vitamin depletes. And there's some authors that think that B1 vitamin is the anti-ADH vitamin. And so,
B1.
yeah, B1, benphotamine, and or thiamine,
Yeah.
uh, it actually prevents ADHD. So, I mean, the studies show that with ADHD, people are almost always low in their B1 vitamins. And so, and they show in the studies as well that ADHD medicines work for 3 to 6 months and then they don't work anymore, or you have to take more. And so, what happens is everybody ends up taking more stimulant and more stimulant. They deplete their B1 vitamins. And all they had to do is really start off with just taking some B1 vitamins to start with.
You think the stimulants wear off because your body gets used to it? Is that a
It
thing?
does, and it
Okay.
requires more. I mean, like, I feel like doing ADHD medicine is, yes, it does improve your focus, okay, and it'll elevate your heart. It's speed,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, is it along the same lines as like
amphetamines,
amphetamines,
absolutely.
like methamphetamines?
Well, I mean,
Not as,
they're all in the no, it's
yeah,
not as bad as methamphetamines, but
but
yes,
it's in
they
that family
yes,
of drugs,
absolutely,
and we're giving our kids that.
right. I mean, why not try a B1 vitamin? Why not try methylated B vitamins, of which I've done a
Yeah.
lot, and see what happens? Well, I mean, I don't I don't know. I mean, their studies are out there. They've done them themselves. Works for 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, how many people do you know that have been on ADHD medicine for 10 years,
Yeah.
20 years?
I think we're into a mindset where we, instead of the pill or the medicine is meant for a cure, no, it's just meant to, it's just part of my life now,
Right.
you know?
It's a dependence. It's a
Yeah.
dependence thing. I'm dependent on the healthcare system because I am dependent on this medicine. which costs an arm and a leg. I
Yeah.
mean, it's uh, some of the long acting ADHD medicines now are ridiculous. They're $500 or $600 a month. How do you afford that for years and years? When it really, the studies really do show works the 3 to 6 months. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Um, and parents, you know, out there listening today can just be like, hey, I can try this vitamin protocol, and
Well, why not?
it's got to be a lot cheaper than
Why not? Absolutely,
$500.
much. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know.
And as I said, the MTHFR, I've every one that I've checked in the clinic, it's been about 25 of them have been positive, and they need methylated B vitamins, and it changes these kids' lives. You do that with a little bit of exercise,
Yeah.
uh, and getting outside, et cetera, et cetera. And gosh, their life gets better. But we're getting pulled away from what's natural, and we're being pushed towards every commercial that comes on in the evening is touting a medicine of some kind.
And they all have that disclaimer at the end.
Right.
Can't cause suicidal tendencies.
Yeah. All
Contact
the
your doctor if
disclaimers
you
that you
feel
look
like
at
killing
one,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has to be prescribed by a doctor, so that they've got to put everything on somebody. So
Yeah.
because they're not going to take responsibility.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean that those are just a few. I mean, I've treated fibrocystic disease with vitamin E and iodine, and
Yeah.
had really good success with that. I've
Yeah.
treated a lot of things with vitamins these days, and gosh, it works. And I don't really want to call them vitamins. I just want to call them supplements because it's something that your body's really not getting enough of. Um,
Supplementing your diet.
right.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you went into your doctor and they said, "Well, let's try like some vitamin C, and let's try some vitamin C, some vitamin B1, and some methyl factors, versus speed."
So I remember the first time you gave me a sheet of paper and you're writing it down like it's a prescription, and you hand it to me and it's just vitamins.
Right.
How many people look at you like, are you crazy?
Well, I mean, so what I try to do is not today, but a little busier today than I have been ever actually. But um, I try to spend enough time with people and say, here's the research,
Yeah.
and here's what I think. I can do A or B. I can go standard medicine, or I can do something different. But um, most of the time, patients that I have, they trust me, which is,
Yeah.
it takes time and effort to have them trust me.
Yeah.
And it's like, if this were my kid, this is what I would do.
My daughter is like no dyes for her kids. Like if it's got food with dyes in it, she used to get mad at us because we didn't know.
Right,
You know,
right,
we,
right. My
we
daughter-in-law is like that as
yeah.
well.
So, but then I saw it. I can't remember what we gave Thea, my granddaughter, and oh, cereal with it was Lucky Charms, and she was off the wall, and she would not listen, and she's like, did you have dyes today? I had cereal. It's Lucky Charms. See, that's why you're acting like this. I mean, I don't remember the kids when they were growing up acting like that after a bowl of Lucky Charms.
Well, and back in the day, I remember, gosh, we got Rice Checks and Kicks, which were Cheerios.
Yeah,
Basically didn't have sugar
yeah.
or anything like
Now
that.
everything has sugar.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
but uh, and then also, did you know that there's been a Kellogg on the FDA board, a Kellogg brother or a family member from the Kellogg's for the last 50 years? I mean, those people are selling cereal, which is just basically fried white flour,
yeah,
which is enriched again. It has folate, and so they're saying this is all you need. And then actually, during the crisis of the food when everything got to be so expensive, they wanted everybody to eat cereal 3 or 4 times a day.
Ugh,
And it's like, man, there's just nothing worse for kids than that.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what we have in our institutions.
Now, along with cereal, you got to have the milk. How good is our milk? Because it's supposed to have vitamin D in it.
Okay, so we talked about it doesn't get absorbed unless it's D3K2,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's not.
And they always talk about milk is good for your bones and
Right. And they had in the 70s growing up, this is kind of
yeah,
another deal that just really gets okay, so we're the only mammals that have milk after their babies. Okay?
is that like there's a guy I worked with, he was he's really into his fitness and building muscles and stuff like that. Um he's like, we don't need milk anymore. We're
No.
adults.
Right.
He says, because I was talking about lactose intolerance.
Right.
I go, yeah, I'll get the bubble gut and I'll have to go to the
Right. Right.
bathroom.
Right.
He
Right.
goes, that's you don't need it anymore. Your body doesn't need it anymore.
Right.
That's why it's doing that.
Right.
So no milk is a good thing.
Well, I mean, let me give you a little example that I had a few weeks ago. Okay. I had a patient that was diabetic, right? And it wasn't just a little bit diabetic. I mean, she had her blood sugar average, her hemoglobin A1C was 13.6, which is an average of around 400.
Yeah.
Okay. And I put her on more and more and more diabetic medicines. And it's like, you just, and I've talked to her about diet and I've talked to her about this and that. And finally, it's like, I had to have the conversation. It's like, okay, I'm either going to put you on insulin or or I want you to bring me your diet. I want you to bring me everything you've eaten. And I mean, this is kind of last ditch. I just don't want to take shots. I don't want to take shots. And it's like, okay, bring me everything you're eating, take a diary for 5 days, come back Monday to Friday, came back, looked at her diet, and yeah, it didn't look that bad. And then at the end of that, I said, so what? I said, are you doing sugary drinks? Or something
Yeah.
like that? Because I said, you might be getting the sugar from that. So what are you drinking? And she said, milk. It's like, milk. How much milk are you going through? 3 to 4 gallons a week.
Wow.
All right.
We go through a half gallon maybe of
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Now I'm not done. So 4 gallons a week, right? It's like, come back in 5 days. I think it's 2 weeks. Come back in 2 weeks, and let's recheck your sugars. Just stop your milk, and so it's like, all right, you either take insulin or stop drinking milk. Okay, she said she'd stop drinking milk. So she came back. Her hemoglobin A1C went from 13.6 to 7.8, which means her blood sugar went from the high 300s to the mid 100s. Her cholesterol went from 380, okay, down to 170, which is less than half. Okay, and it's like, so then I got curious. It's like, why did you drink so much milk? Well, of course she's diabetic and she's thirsty because her sugar's way too high, right?
Yeah.
A, B, but she said, they told me to do this on the diabetic diet when I went into the counselor and when I started my diabetic meds way back in the
A
day. And
nutritionist told her this?
nutritionist told her to drink at least 3 servings of milk a day. Well, her servings were 44-ounce glasses. And
Oh my gosh.
so she's going
That's
through 4 gallons of milk a week and wonders what's going on. I mean, should we put that on our cereal for our kids?
no.
I mean, let's think about it. What produces sugar, right? Lactose,
Yeah.
right? And then they go, well, can I just have the skim milk? It's like, no, you still have the same amount. You have more lactose. You have more sugar in there. So milk is sugar plus fat, a titch of protein, but sugar plus fat. What's in there? How do you make cholesterol? Sugar plus fat, right? That's
Yeah.
how your body makes it. You take in sugar and fat and you make cholesterol. Well, no wonder her cholesterol is 370 because she's getting all of that every day. And if you just have one extra tablespoon of sugar per day, it puts your whole body into an inflammatory cascade, right?
Yeah.
Plus the lactose, plus the fat, plus the this, plus the that. I mean, yeah, milk is completely unnecessary, and I'll go on record as saying, don't drink milk. I mean, they in the 70s and 80s, remember we were kids, it's like all those commercials
Got
about,
milk.
yeah, got milk,
Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff. And
The
and
milk
and
mustache and all the celebrities with the
right,
got milk, and they
right.
really pushed it hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it really, my opinion again is it's completely unnecessary in the American diet today, the adult American diet today.
What about like I know people like the almond milk. Is that's just sugar too, isn't it?
That there is, and it's a little bit better. It's got a lot more protein in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Still has a lot of sugar in it. All
Yeah.
right. Um, and then it's like they have to process to make almond milk. They have to process. So, I mean, it really is ultra processed. So, almond milk, I think, is a little bit better, but I mean, I did not get in charge of my diabetes and my hyperlipidemia, et cetera, until I quit milk. Now I'll do Greek yogurt 3 or 4 times a week, but I don't do any milk at all. Zero.
Now Greek yogurt once a day, is that
Yeah,
harmful?
I know. I think Greek yogurt. You have to kind of pick
Well,
your
that's got
poison.
your probiotics in it.
Right. It's
Yeah.
got probiotics. It's got a lot of protein.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got I don't know. Those two things are why I think it's pretty good.
What about cottage cheese?
Cottage cheese is pretty good too. It's
I
actually
mean,
got a
it's
lot of
milk, isn't
protein.
it? Though.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit, but the protein content is higher and the lactose content is less. So the sugar is less. The fat is less, the sugar is less.
Then they have is when you say protein, is that the amino acids or
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
All right. Because I know a lot of bodybuilders that I mean, looking into their diets and stuff like that, they use cottage cheese.
Yeah, cottage cheese. I recommend cottage cheese and yogurt for my for my calcium,
Okay.
basically.
So if we want to get calcium, is calcium like I know they push it the milk for the calcium,
Right?
strong bones and all that, but
Right.
w- we can get that through.
Well, the other part of that is the other than vitamin D that um, is kind of interesting is so we really have uh, as a nation we have a really low vitamin D level, and the second thing that's really low on almost everybody is magnesium. All right, what happens is if you don't have enough magnesium, you actually leach calcium out of your bone
Oh,
in lieu of magnesium. And so I'm a big fan. They say that 96% of the country does not, is low in magnesium. And
no wonder.
so I mean you can check a blood test, a serum magnesium, but those aren't always accurate. It's the intracellular magnesium. And I've checked magnesiums on people, and it's like, yeah, that looks normal. Let's do that intercellular. And then you do the intercellular, and it's really low. And so, magnesium glycinate, I know there's a lot of people that use citrate, magnesium citrate, but that really doesn't absorb very well and it doesn't cross the blood brain barrier. But magnesium glycinate helps your muscles, helps your bones. I mean, it helps you sleep.
Is that just a supplement you can get, or is it in a certain type of food, or is it in a certain type of?
Magnesium's a little tough to find in food, and that's why and vitamin D is a little tough to find in food. We're
Yeah.
getting that from the sun and from conversion, but magnesium's tough to find in food.
So you
But
have to
I found
supplement that pretty much to get it.
right.
Okay.
I've found a lot of people with heart arrhythmias, et cetera, palpitations that taking a little bit of magnesium glycinate, like 444 milligrams a day, really helps.
Okay. And the best, what do we need to look for as far as these bottles that we see in the store? Like if I want to get this magnesium, is it
Glycinate,
glycinate? You
glycinate.
said that's the best part to do.
I feel like the magnesium citrate stays in your GI tract. It really doesn't actually absorb. And there's a lot of people that are doing that. The glycinate gets, it's a smaller molecule and it crosses the blood brain barrier. So it actually can help you sleep.
Okay.
Okay. And then the magnesium threonate, a lot of the studies that have come out on that show that that may be equal or perhaps a little better than the glycinate, but I'm still waiting for that to, I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for the studies to show. But magnesium actually keeps you, can keep you from getting osteoporosis
Okay.
because it's not leaching out of your bones.
And that we can find that just in any
Yeah, the
health food.
magnesium glycinate's pretty easy to find these days, and it's not hard to make. It doesn't degrade quickly. Um, that's pretty easy to find.
Okay. Um, what about iron? I know
That's a
we
good one. That's a good one. I know there's a lot of people, especially people with a lot of inflammation, that's iron is low. And there's specifically, I feel like the best test for iron is ferritin, and that kind of tells you more the actual iron that you have. Um, and iron actually, if it's by itself, it kind of, some of the people say that it kind of rusts your organs. You have to take iron with vitamin C in order to absorb it properly. And
okay.
so I think there's one called Ferricon C. Um, I have some BioT vitamins that have vitamin C, and I've seen them work really, really well.
Yeah.
But iron is kind of a tough one. There's a lot of the experts are saying that if you take iron by itself, it quote unquote rusts the inside of your body. I don't quite understand that, but
I mean, it actually rusts the inside of your body.
well, it oxidizes.
Oh,
Okay. And so like oxidation is rust. If
yeah.
in I mean, as you look at oxidation in our environment, it's rust.
Yeah.
Okay. But they say it oxidizes the inside of your body, which they go ahead and say that's rust. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, that's
people are taking a lot of ferrous gluconate, ferrous sulfate, really hard on the stomach. Uh, but the iron with the vitamin C seems to work better for my patients.
what about just getting it from your food? What foods would we get iron from?
Spinach. Uh, I'm a big grass-fed beef, and
Yeah.
uh, I'm a big grass-fed beef. Um, leafy green vegetables, um, and meats. Yeah.
So you always said lower to the
Oh, and
ground you
and
could get.
actually, I forgot the most important one is liver. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I could do liver.
Yeah. Liver's a little rough. Liver's a little rough.
Yeah, I'm a very picky eater. Just ask Maria; she'll tell you. And but I think I'll just get my iron from my supplements. I don't want to do the liver
Yeah.
or the spinach all that much.
I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm gonna have to do another deep dive on that because I'm some of the people that say that it oxidizes. If you actually take iron with the vitamin C is an antioxidant. So they say that that actually is way better for you.
So
And I see it.
you have to take it with vitamin C. Well, I mean, if you're already taking,
Yes,
yeah,
because a low dose vitamin C is an antioxidant, where
okay.
like a high dose of vitamin C, there's a lot of patients that cancer patients that actually do vitamin C in really high doses because it's an oxidant at high doses. At low doses, it's an antioxidant.
So I know people are watching and listening, they're like, "That's a lot of vitamins today," and like all the
I
way from
honestly,
A to
you
K. And
can, yeah,
can you get it in one multivitamin or
I take 80K,
yeah,
and as I said earlier, I run about 120. I've never had a problem with that. They say
yeah.
that's a little bit high. Um, I take methyl factors, methylated B vitamins, um, and I take a C, uh, 80K, zinc, and I mean pretty much the ones that I've talked about. And I take a omega-3 fish oil twice a day. And if I knew something better, I'd take it because my goal is longevity.
Yeah.
I want to uh, I want to have life at the end of my years.
Yeah. So the The multivitamins that we grew up with, the Centrum,
Flintstones.
the Flintstones, and the what's the other one? I can't remember. It's a
Well,
multivitamin.
just like for example, the Flintstones. Okay, well, take that for
Yeah,
example. All right.
that's still around.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It's just
So
candy.
that sugar
Yeah,
is that sugar in of itself, the gummies, the blah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, depletes your B vitamin stores. Okay, so you're taking probiotics, which is to improve your gut health,
yeah,
right? And then you're putting sugar in your gut, and sugar is the worst thing you can have for your gut, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, it's feeding all the wrong bacteria. So, I mean, Flintstones, it's just dumb.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just dumb. And so's gummy probiotics, et cetera, et cetera, et
yeah.
cetera.
Once I started taking that BioT probiotic, I didn't realize how the other ones just
I
they
was
suck.
well, and I've been through. I mean, I've been through the Gundry probiotics. I've been through a lot of probiotics because the gut health is really important. I mean, your overall health and your inflammation kind of follows your gut health, and
Yeah,
so you want to do. And so I was taking expensive probiotics, and gosh, the Biote, the ones that were sitting on my shelf, were have been by far the best ones, and my inflammatory levels gone down because of it.
yeah. That is, you definitely feel the bloat go away when you're on
Right.
that probiotic. It's got a multi-strain probiotic, but I definitely feel the bloat go away. s- all right, zinc. Um,
Yeah. One of
what
the
what
other
does that do for you?
Well, I mean, so when I was going through COVID, I read everything there was to read about it. There was really very little that was out there that was good, but I found some good foreign sources that were good, and everybody said, "Oh yeah, you need to take uh, vitamin D. You need to take vitamin C, and again on the vitamin C, it's at least 1,000 grams a day. The vitamin D, I recommend at least 5,000 units a day, and then zinc. So what does zinc do? You know, it's like because I told at least 1,000 people to take CD and zinc. Take CD and zinc. Well, zinc actually uh, improves your sense of taste and smell. I've had a lot of people's smell come back after COVID because
Yeah.
it depletes your zinc. Um, it actually also affects your hormones, especially your testosterone. It affects ovulation. People with PMS and stuff like that
Yeah.
have really good success with zinc. Um,
So
and is a pre-hormone. So I mean,
so when you say it affects your hormones, balances the hormones.
balances the hormones. Yes.
So I- that's amazing because I know that your body can have some negative reactions to an unbalanced hormonal,
Oh man,
like you can, you know, like autoimmune disease is flares up from imbalanced hormones.
that right.
Yeah.
Autoimmune disease and vitamin D and zinc actually combat autoimmune disease. I mean, gosh, another wonderful molecule.
Wow.
And it's like I was just not taught any of this stuff in medical school. Zero of this. And it's actually they say one of the best vitamins for mood and affect, which is affect is your kind of your personality,
Yeah.
etc. Mood and affect, it works really well. So it's also an antioxidant. It also helps with your immunity. Gosh, you know,
And when we talk about antioxidants, that's important because does that have like cancer fighting or
that's right.
can't because
Um,
when you have
Cancer,
oxidative stress, that's a
oxidative
yeah,
stress, free radicals, and oxidative stress, that irritation, inflammation starts the ball to rolling with inflammation in the body. And as I said, like sugar is inflammation, and this is inflammation. But the antioxidants, which vitamin C has and zinc has, and vitamin D has, um, kind of slows down. I mean, they say that CD and zinc help with heart attacks. They say that it helps uh, with all the inflammatory diseases, all et cetera. And Wouldn't it be kind of cool if we had, I mean, we've got such a run on autoimmune disease now. Wouldn't it be kind of neat if like the stores would sell CD and zinc?
Yeah,
It's like take a CD and zinc pack versus having a bag of gummy bears or whatever, I
right.
I don't know.
Oh, and you think about it, if like oxidative stress is also what causes our aging,
Exactly.
and it's also if it's antioxidant,
That's right.
it's anti-aging.
Anti-aging.
Yeah.
That is absolutely right. And why people haven't put those two together.
You think that would be like a
Oxidation is rust, and
yeah,
antioxidation is, I mean, okay, it's a complete oversimplification, but oxidation is what we commonly know as oxidation is rust. But people claim that that happens in the inside of the body.
you would think that people would be buying out those supplements because
Instead of McDonald's, I mean,
yeah, I mean most people are
you have a vitamin place that you go to.
yeah, most people want to live longer, plus they also want to look younger,
Right,
and if you're reducing that oxidative stress through these supplements, you think they would like the shelves would be bare with that.
right.
I mean,
But it's not.
it's not.
And so, and I think the problem is that, as a medical profession, all of the drug companies are pushing their drugs. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's really making a ton of money on vitamin C, and so, uh, I don't know, but big pharma is actually making money on that. So I think to an extent that all of that research and all of that stuff is kind of squelched and kind
Yeah.
of swept under the rug. But I don't know. That's the reason why I've tried to educate myself because there's nobody that knows this stuff. Like nobody that knows this stuff.
Yeah.
Very few people.
And then you hear the ones that, the ones that do know it and preach it, and then they just kind of get labeled
Oh yeah, they get labeled as quacks.
yeah,
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 and I've
because
I've been one of those guys, one of those quacks. But
yeah,
gosh, I'm having some really good results with some of my patients. So, maybe that's working.
right? Yeah, if it's working, who cares what the big pharma thinks? Just
Well,
keep
yeah,
doing that. Yeah. Um, I think we're just so we're sheep, you know?
we are. We're definitely
Not
sheep.
just in that. I mean, this is one of the aspects that we're sheep, because the commercials say it, the big pharma says it, the government says it, and if you challenge that, it's you're a quack or you're conspiracy theorist, and
Well, I mean,
you know,
look at what happened. Look at what happened with the COVID vaccine,
yeah.
and look at how many people. It's like, gosh, man, I was the outcast for
What
the
I
hospital that I worked at. Because I was one of five that didn't end up getting
yeah,
a COVID vaccine. Now, despite the fact, I mean, it didn't matter that my uh, immunoglobulin levels to COVID was one of the highest in Kansas because of all the hours and all the exposure that I had and the amount of times that I had it. But how did I treat it at that point? I treated it with CD and zinc because, I mean, I felt like that would work. And I really didn't ever get very sick. I got a little cold,
yeah.
but not much. But look at how the sheep just went off the cliff and all the side effects that are innumerable. We're seeing so much of that fallout at this time.
They're starting to be a little bit honest about it, like
They're starting to be. They're starting to
because
be.
cancer rates are up, heart disease.
I was one in 1,000 for a while, and
Yeah,
now I feel like I feel like there's more people that see my viewpoint on this.
yeah. I just couldn't understand why we would freak out the way we did for a virus that was you had a 99% chance of surviving.
Right.
I'm like,
Right. And then the treatment was worse than the disease
yeah,
in a lot of cases.
yeah. I mean that you hear a lot of the in the military intelligence world, you hear false flag operations, and I think that was a false flag operation.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
because it didn't make any sense, and the the essential businesses that got to stay open were liquor stores and strip clubs,
And not gyms,
not gyms. No,
not
no,
gyms,
no.
not churches, not gyms,
No.
not all the goodness,
Yeah.
not all the goodness that we had out there. All the goodness was closed down.
And you had to
That's
stay
crazy.
inside. I'm like, why would you stay inside on a sunny day?
Right. And
The
not go out and get your vitamin D, which high vitamin D level helps you fight infection.
plus the sun is one of the best disinfectants.
Right.
If you touch something and the sun's shining on it, most likely that germ's gonna die.
Yeah, and the people getting jailed in California for being on the beach.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. People
Wow.
getting shot with rubber bullets in Minnesota for being on the porch.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I I think people need to realize that not everything you hear or see is true, and there's ways that you could find out is this true or not. If it isn't, if one of the big things that you can put to a story to a test is if, like, for instance, during COVID, nobody could speak out against it or question what they were doing.
Right.
That's a that's a
This
issue.
thing that was sad is there were some good treatments out there, and those were really thwarted at several levels, and um, there was no good resource to learn about it.
Yeah,
Like everybody in the medical, not everybody, but a lot of people in the medical profession rely on a resource called Up to Date. To this day, Up to Date does not have treatment for COVID.
like ivermectin or monoclonal antibodies.
They have monoclonal antibodies, and they've got, gosh, what was the Fauci drug? Um, can't remember. I just never used it. But the treatment that they recommend is still supportive care. I mean, there's so many treatments that helped out there, and there's still to this day not a treatment for COVID.
I mean, natural immunity or
Well, natural,
herd
nat,
immunity.
natural immunity, C, D, zinc,
It's
all the things
easy. Yeah.
all the things we kind of talked about. Ivermectin, I felt like I had good success with Zithromax and steroids and budesonide, something I had really good success with. Um, but I wasn't allowed to use it when it was there.
I had COVID twice in the year part. One was in 21 and one was in 22. The second time around, it felt just like a minor cold.
Right,
I tested. I mean, you didn't. I used a home test and was like,
right,
okay, it says I got COVID. How trustworthy were those home tests? I
mm,
don't know.
right,
I didn't put it to the test. I didn't put it like some people would stick it in Coke and then some people would stick it up their
right,
nose.
right, right,
Um, but I didn't feel last year when I got pneumonia, that was the worst I felt. That was way worse than my COVID.
right,
I thought I was gonna die last year.
right,
You know, I was just like, I was afraid to go to sleep. But with my COVID, I've had this flu before,
right.
and
And the
yeah,
way I got over it the first time I had it was exercise. And I think that was really the way to do it. Get outside. I talked to dozens of people that were, yeah, I went out. I finally went out. I felt so horrible, but I finally went out and put up a fence, or I finally went out and dug a hole, or I finally went out and did X, Y, Z. That was super physical, and
yeah,
they felt better. I can remember I was doing my workout one morning and coughed until I thought I was going to gag and puke, and then I was done. I worked hard enough to get myself, and then I was done. And so I felt completely better after that.
yeah. The first time I got it, I got
But
those
did
months.
you ever hear that anywhere?
No,
Ever?
get to moving, sweat the poison out.
Right.
No,
Right.
I remember we used to do that when we were kids. You have a hangover, you go work out,
Right.
and that's what my buddy would
Or
say.
grandma, if you had a bellyache, she'd give you a tablespoon of castor oil and make you run around the house 3 times. I mean, those kind of things that
Yeah,
may not be too far off.
yeah, yeah. Because I remember the castor oil when I was a kid. I remember a lot of things that they don't. doing now.
I like castor oil a lot, but I'm not don't feel comfortable enough to do it orally yet. Even though I probably had 50 doses when I grew up, it didn't hurt me, but
Yeah. Well, that's a good my barber told me to put castor oil on my beard if I want to make it fuller.
right,
It's like that's a good hair growth aid.
it is.
There's so many
And
things.
and then like any nodules under the skin,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Oh, I had a lady that had breast cancer and had a biopsy, and she had a little scar underneath her breast. Went back for an MRI, and they said that scar is it's kind of scary. And it's like try to put a castor oil patch on that. And she went back for an MRI a month later, and they said the scar was completely gone.
Wow.
So, yeah, castor oil is another one of my favorites. I use it for a lot of stuff.
The medicine that was available and widely used in the early
Settler
20th
days,
century, yeah,
yeah.
is coming back and people are actually saying, "Oh, this will actually work."
Colloidal silver,
Yeah.
a lot of those things are working now.
Yeah. But now we got instead of yeah, it works, but we're still gonna push this poison down you and make you
Right,
dependent on it.
right.
Uh, yeah, I have not trusted the big pharma for a while, but then COVID just amplified my mistrust for them.
I think it did a lot of people's if they were allowed if they're allowed to actually speak their mind. I mean, for me, that's what started Liberty MD, and that's what started the direct primary care, and I feel led from God that this is where I'm supposed to be now.
Yeah, yeah. So what other vitamins can we take that is beneficial besides the ones we already spoke about?
Well, I mean, you're talking about supplements and that kind of stuff. I still feel like as a rule, we don't get enough vitamin D. We don't get enough. I guess some people take vitamin C. We don't get enough zinc. Uh, but I also feel like we don't get enough protein. And
Yeah,
I think the average American really doesn't get enough protein. And the way that you determine how much protein you should get is you take the weight that you'd like to be at,
so if I want to be 185, I take 185 grams of protein
185 grams of protein a day.
a
Yes.
day. Yeah,
And I mean, I've seen that work on so many patients. And yes, there's good quality protein. There's average quality protein. There's some crap out there, but I feel like so many people that I see that come in, it's like, well, they're actually starving themselves. And
yeah,
so their body goes into starve mode and they can't lose any weight, et cetera, et cetera. It's like eat more protein, eat more protein, eat more
yeah,
protein. And the people that do it actually have great success. And it's like the proteins are the things that make up the enzymes in your body. Those are the things that make up the peptides that your body's supposed to make.
yeah,
Those are the things that make up um the muscle tissue, which is the all cause mortality. Muscle is the all cause mortality uh, influencer more than anything. But you got to have protein to make muscle. You got to have protein to make enzymes. You got to have protein to make collagen. You got to make protein to do anything with. And so, yeah, that's my other. I feel like people are starved from protein. And again, we go back to well, there's milk and cereal. Okay, they want us all to eat milk and cereal for our extra meal a day. How much protein's in that?
yeah.
Nothing. I mean, 2 grams of protein in a big bowl of cereal with milk. I mean, that's crazy. And you got to have it.
Talking about protein, let's talk about the protein powder
Okay.
that is very popular in the fitness community, or if somebody that is just getting into working out. They know that they have to have protein, like you said, to build muscle, and so they take those protein powders and sometimes use them as meal replacements. But how how beneficial are protein powders, and then or how harmful are they?
Well, and that kind of depends too. I mean, I've done probably 100 different protein powders through the years.
That's another industry where there's a lot of noise around
Right.
that product.
Um, I've settled on my favorite protein, which has got all the branched chain amino acids and then the necessaries, is the perfect aminos. It's basically all of the things that it takes to make a pie that are broken down into elements. And I've had and had patients with so much success when they've tried so many for so many years. My favorite is the perfect aminos. I also like pharmaceutical grade creatine, and creatine, I feel like uh, at least 5 grams a day for your muscles and then 10 grams a day for your brain. There's so many cool studies out right now that show that they've done creatine in nursing homes and how much effect that's positive effect that's had on dementia and everything else. And that's just kind of cool.
And that out of all the supplements that I've read about and heard about and listened to people talk about, they always mention when creatine with creatine, that's the only supplement out there that's been like, I'm not talking about food or vitamins and stuff like that. I'm talking about like muscle building supplements, but that's the only source that's been scientifically proven to work.
Yes,
Have you heard that?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Well, so science is behind creatine.
Right. Science is behind creatine. They've actually got some really good studies on the perfect aminos, which is like branched chain amino acids,
Mm-hmm.
which is the amino acids that you kind of break down or can break down. Um, and then the other one that I like, it's kind of fallen into a distant third for me, but I still like it, is whey protein.
Way, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't like the proteins that have the soy isolates, et cetera. And I don't the soybean oils and the soy isolates. I don't like that near as well. But whey, creatine, and perfect aminos or seem to help.
Okay.
And then you just got to be careful. I mean, I'd be happy to answer any questions for people, but you got to look through the ingredients because some of those protein bars really have just how they got caffeine in them. They've got some kind of
Yeah.
bad sugars and that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah. One of the, oh, back in 2011, I went to Dallas for a law enforcement fitness a certification course.
mhm,
And one of the things that she was, one of, it was an instructor, was she was talking about, she had a client who could never lose he could build muscle, but he always had that fat around the midsection that,
right,
and most people, that's the last to go.
right,
And she's like, "What are you eating? What's your diet like?" And he's like, "Well, I eat clean. I eat chicken and I eat clean red
right.
meat and all that." She's like, "What kind of protein powder do you take?" And he said, "Well, I take this big old jug." And she looked at it, and it was like packed with sugar.
Right.
I like, she goes, "That's why you can't get the
Right.
lean muscle and that last few bits of fat off your body because you're drinking a bunch of sugar every day."
And one extra tablespoon of sugar starts that inflammatory cascade, increases that cortisol,
Yeah,
gets put in your middle.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally see how that happens.
yeah. So
But I mean,
since then,
if you don't know, educate yourself, and I would be happy to. It's just that there's so many things out there with so much sugar and so much crap, and like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I'm kind of an island under myself as far as people that I can't call my compadres and say, hey, what are you using? What's your good protein? What are you
yeah,
doing, et cetera. It's things I had to discover for myself.
yeah. When you say sugar, is cane sugar any better than processed sugar?
It is a little bit better. It is a little bit better, and it doesn't. It's actually the fructose or the sweet
Yeah,
high fructose corn syrup. And you look at those protein powders. There's a lot of them, like
yeah,
protein bars. They have high fructose corn syrup. That's evil.
yeah.
I mean, high fructose corn syrup toasts your liver. Everything. It's a bad gig. But uh, so yes, cane sugar is better
What about
and worse.
honey?
What's that?
Honey, if it's made with honey, is that
I honestly like local honey, and I use those. There's a lot of concoctions that I do. I mean, black pepper, honey, um, and I mean for cough stuff that I use and allergy stuff that I use. But I mean, actually, local honey's been shown to really decrease allergies.
yeah? But when we say honey, we're not talking about the bear. We're talking about
Talking about
the whole thing
the
that
whole
looks
thing,
like it just got
right?
was scraped off
Right.
the honeycomb.
It's got the stuff floating around in it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forget what they call that. Is that it's no? I was thinking about apple cider vinegar, but no, I was thinking the mother or something. There's a chemical in there
Oh,
with the I can't remember what it is.
I can't either. I know it's good though.
Yeah,
It's good. I used to put
I
it in
do
my coffee.
whole honey. I do whole honey in MCT oil and in my rice coffee every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I would take the whole honey and put it in my coffee with that cocoa,
right,
and because that just cocoa by itself is very bitter,
right,
and I didn't want to put sugar in it because that just defeats the purpose,
right, right,
So
right.
I bought some whole honey stuff. So
Yeah, they got some good. They got some good beekeepers around too. There's some good honey at even at stores and stuff here in town.
I heard like there was a chiropractor that sells them. I can't remember which one, but you can go in there and buy locally sourced honey. Uh, I can't remember who it is though. Dr. Owen, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. He does. Yes,
yeah.
he does.
But so, you want to keep the inflammation down, then stay off honey, stay off sugar, supplement it with honey,
Yep,
or substitute it with honey.
yep.
Take your vitamin B's and D's and K and A and
Right,
zinc,
right,
magnesium, iron.
right.
Uh,
Most men don't need iron. Most women that are still menstruating need iron, but most men don't. So, which
now, being low on iron is the way you can tell you're low on iron is when you stand up suddenly and you get lightheaded. Is
yeah,
that a
that's
thing?
part of it. Actually, what the old fashioned guy used to tell me is there's this little lines underneath your eyes right there.
Yeah.
And if you look at people, you can tell how, and he could walk into a room and say hemoglobin 6, hemoglobin's 9, hemoglobin, and he was always within a point.
Wow.
He was pretty good at it.
Wow.
So that's something else that's been lost in medicine is actually examining your patient.
Right?
Now
Yeah.
hard to see that when you're on like
Telehealth.
telehealth or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had an old instructor that was a doctor that was pretty good at that, and he's always pretty close.
That comes from the old ways of
Right,
being
right.
the actual.
Like the little pits, and then I mean, there's a lot of things on physical exam which we don't even do anymore. Like the vitamin E is, people get the crusty redness around their beard and stuff like that. That's a vitamin E deficiency. I mean, there's just kind of cool stuff everywhere. If you just medicine's pretty cool
Yeah.
if you don't just protocol it like it has been now.
Yeah. Now, how talking about beauty products that advertise that they have vitamin E and stuff like that on there, how much of that product is chemical and how much of it actual vitamin?
That's a good question because it's I have like an app
Yeah.
on my phone that and I got to get it back because I just got a new phone. But I had an app on my phone that would actually spell that out for you, whether things were good or they were really natural, etc.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of it, but it goes through vitamins and kind of tells you like, uh, right now, like pyridoxine or B6, um, if it's not methylated, it's toxic and causes peripheral neuropathy. And that's one of the two or three things that when I use this as a scanner, so this has pyridoxine in it. Danger, danger, danger.
Oh wow.
So it would rank like supplements and stuff like that on a scale of 1 to 100, and like this is 95th percentile, this is 10th percentile, and the problem is with that is you're taking somebody's word. But I mean, as a rule, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Huh. You remember what the app was called?
I don't. I had it on my old phone. I'll get it and I'll text it to you.
Yeah, I had I saw an advertisement for that, but I can't remember what it was. Where you can go into the store and see if it's actual good supplement for you.
Right.
It's probably good to have that if you don't have the time.
Right.
But I mean, if you're not doing anything on a Saturday morning and you want to know what supplements out there to buy,
I have people.
educate
I
yourself.
have and I have people every day that bring in a box. I know the doctors. As a doctor, I used to hate this when I got like 3 to 4 minutes with somebody, and they bring in a big box of their medicines or whatever. But now people are bringing me in a huge box of supplements and say, "Can you tell me what to take and what not to take?" And honestly, I kind of appreciate that because they're trying to.
Yeah,
And honestly, I try to educate myself from reliable sources, and it's like, okay, this. One lady today, I think she brought in 20 bottles, 23 bottles of supplements. I got rid of 18.
really,
Yeah,
that just weren't good for her.
yeah. They had toxic, had sugar in it. All um,
I don't see the purpose of putting sugar in supplements. I don't know.
I don't
I
either.
don't know why.
Right.
Other
Yeah.
than, I mean, I know there's probably some hidden reason behind that, but
Well, they're putting sugar in it so people tolerate it, but it's like, you're killing. I mean, that should be your first sign that this is crap.
yeah,
It's like I got my gummy probiotics. It's like that's like putting out a fire with gasoline. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. So that's some good information that you shared with us, and
Well, I appreciate all you do, Kenny,
yeah,
and I be happy to answer any questions. I'll get an email out there too, so that uh, people that want to know more, some good resources, and
yeah,
be happy to help. And it's kind of what we do at Liberty Direct Primary Care. It's kind of fun to watch people get healthy.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
And thank you for doing all you do.
it's fun. I like it.
Well, that's a wrap on the sixth episode of Out of Network and Into Wellness.
Yeah, be sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube and Spotify. You guys have a great day.
Yep. Thank y'all.